Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan, the governor, has arrived. Sitting next to the Deputy Governor.
Your Excellency, as has been introduced to you, I am here along with your son, Professor Sylvester Moye, to lead the National Good Governance Tour team to Delta State, which is actually chaired by the NGGT National President, Malam Mohamed Garba, who is also presently the President of West African Journalists Association. Garba comes along with a team of civil society and media stakeholders. Every news organization in Nigeria is represented here. All the major national newspapers, all the major television stations, AIT channels, Silverbird, they are all represented on this team that is here with you. Backing them up is a very, very strong team of social media people. And their duty is to place us on the international platforms as we move along. We are streamed live on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the sites of the Federal Ministry of Information. We're on Twitter. And as we move, the team is working continuously to make sure that whatever we see is seen across the world simultaneously. We have a strong team of civil society organizations. They are here. Some of them have already been introduced. The idea of coming with civil society organizations is to ensure that what we see and what we assess is seen also as very neutral. There are pro-democracy groups here. There are different civil society organizations, women groups, youth groups. None is supposed to be represented. They are all part of this team. The idea is to carry a cross-section of society so that as we embark on this National Good Governance Tour, we can have the insights and views of different groups as we move from place to place to inspect and monitor the progress our democracy is making across the country. Your Excellency, as you very fully know, the National Good Governance Tour, contrary to some comments, usually that will go along with a program like this, it's not a federal government program. It is a national program supported by all the 36 governors and the federal government. We designed this program, the Minister of Information, the Minister of National Planning represented here, and of course your son, Professor Moye, who is Special Advisor to the Governor on Performance Monitoring. We designed the program to the President. When we designed the program, we tabled it before the Federal Executive Council. And the President, looking at the significance and the use of this program, we debated it in the Federal Executive Council. And we then said, for this program to be truly national, we must have the buy-in of all the 36 governors. So he directed us to present it to the National Economic Council. And I had the privilege, along with my colleague, the Minister of National Planning, we made the presentation to the Federal Executive, to the National Economic Council, where all the states were represented. We debated it, and we went blow by blow to explain the need for our democracy to come together, leave partisanship aside, leave party differences aside. Can we move around and demonstrate and show the progress we are making? And from my recollection, this program was overwhelmingly supported by the National Economic Council. Your Excellency, I want to thank you and all the other governors from the 36 states for their support for this program. Now, after that, the governors insisted that, yes, they are supporting it at the National Economic Council, but they need to know the details of this program and also factor in their own observations and their own inputs. So the Nigerian Governors Forum set up another special committee of governors, chaired by the governor of Akwa Ibom State, to look at the program blow by blow. And we went to the governor's secretariat. The governors took every point that was on that program and debated it. Some were changed, some were completely thrown out, and we amended the program with all the inputs of the governors and the governor's secretariat. After which we agreed on a common template for the tour, which was now, the program of all the 3 tiers of government. So what we are doing today is not a federal government program alone. It is a program supported by all the 36 state governors and even the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Governors Forum. The things we started with, the design we had before, was completely, virtually altered when we met with the governors, and they now said, look, if you want us to be on this, this has to change, this has to come in, this has to go, and we agreed. So it's important to explain this, because as we go around, sometimes you hear comments, it's a federal government program. It's not. And if you look at all the people that are seated here, they come from all of society. So what we are doing is simply to lead the path, to show them, the team, what is it that governments are doing. And so far, Your Excellency, we have gone through states that are not in PDP. I have taught a CPC state, and the governor's comments, when we started, people were nervous. Maybe because the Minister of Information is on the delegation, maybe we are going to say something that is partisan. We have sworn an oath, we will not be partisan. We will make sure that we do everything transparently and accountably to the people of Nigeria. So we have gone through CPC state, and they were elated when they saw the judgment, when they saw the comments by the team on their programs, and they saw the publicity it brought to them. We went through Abga states in Imo. We came to Onitsha here, your neighborhood, and we inspected all the programs in this area. And all the governors, all those states that we have gone through so far, in fact, some have written letters of commendation about the fact that what we did was very objective, and they could see clearly that this team is out to discuss the progress that is being made and the challenges we face. Because we know that, yes, there is progress. There are also challenges. As people may often not remember, leadership is the most difficult job in the world, especially political leadership. It's not an easy job, because the whole of society is involved. Interests, different thinking, and so on. So we believe that this program should start a national conversation on development, on progress, on welfare of people. Our parties might be different. Our thinking different. We may be competing against each other for power. But why are we doing this? We are doing this to deliver services to people. Development, once you're elected as governors, sir, you are no longer a PDP governor. You're a governor of everybody in your state, no matter the parties they belong to. And you are working for the whole of society. And so we believe this is a governance program. Governance must be removed from pure partisanship if our society is to prosper. And our democracy is young. We're just 13 years old. 13 years. And often people don't see the difference that is being made, because democracy by nature involves arguments, involves disputes between those in power, those outside, society, and so on. And sometimes in the midst of these disputations, citizens are confused because their attention is not focused on the progress that is being made in the midst of these disagreements. And it was important, therefore, that we all come together to reassure our citizens and to engage them. So this is a national discussion, a national conversation about development. And as you know here, it could be very frustrating. Sometimes you are here doing your best as a councillor, as a commissioner, as a local government chairman, and people will just run you down. People just don't want to hear anything positive. Some others believe that elections should be permanent. If they lost, then they must continue a campaign. No. Democracy has a season for everything. Season for campaign, season for work, for those who have been elected. You give them the opportunity to demonstrate what they said they would do if they were elected. If they fail, then when the next season for election comes, you cannot use the evidence and say, look, you haven't done well, we think we should replace you. But you cannot on the day after election continue a campaign. No. We need to develop a culture and a tradition. And so part of this movement is to show people what is happening in the country. Your Excellency, as we go around, let me tell you, sir, this team, everywhere we went, yes, progress is not at the same level because resources are not at the same level. Challenges are not at the same level. There are states that are old. They have been there for as long as Nigeria. They have infrastructure well laid out. What they are doing most of the time is renovation and addition. There are other states that are quite new. They are starting almost all over. So we look at those various parameters and the circumstances, and we are able to say what we have seen against the background of the history, the experiences, and the circumstances. So let me tell you that for all we have done so far, I think this is about the 14th state or so we are visiting. And we have seen that there is tremendous work being done in most of these states. But we never get to hear about it in the national media. We never get to hear about it. What we see on the front pages every day is a quarrel between one politician or another. The same people who make news in Nigeria are those who perpetually make news. And we think there is a need to give these guys some space and focus on the progress. And we think there is a need, to draw attention also to the future of our children by discussing the progress that is going on in the country. Now, let me say this. When Delta State was created in 1991, I was a political editor in Champion newspapers in Lagos. So we came here to report this state at the beginning. The first visit by the then head of state and military president, General Babangida, I followed him to Asaba. We were here for about 2 days in 1991. Where is Sonny, the man from Guardian, who is now your essay? He's a veteran. He received, he was a correspondent here at Asaba. And I've also traveled this area when I was doing my NYC in Benin. I was always traveling through this place before Delta State was created. Now, nobody will come to Asaba today and say it is the same thing. Nobody, no matter, even if you are blind, you cannot say that there are no changes. When we were entering this place, I said this is not it's absolutely, oh well, thank you. This man is a London man, so that is what he can recollect, the professor from England, from the diaspora. So when you enter this government house today, you know that a new environment has been created for government to function. Now you cannot say that it is not, that there is no progress. Now, the last time I left the tour in Enugu, there was no flight. So how will I do it? To return here the following day, I had to fly to Asaba Airport. Now that was the first time I was flying through Asaba Airport. So when we arrived here, and we landed and I saw the airport, and I know that it is quite different from the old generation airports we are now reconstructing. So you cannot say that progress has not been made. And we know that people are working. Yes, can we do better? Definitely everywhere we went, we know that we could run faster. We could improve on the things we are doing. And that is why we are moving around to compare notes. This is the whole thing about this talk. That we can compare notes, we can say, look, yes, progress is being made here. Maybe if we do it like this, maybe we could have higher results. So that is the purpose of this talk. Let me assure Your Excellency that as we are here in Delta, we'll move around. And we know also, sometimes between the 90s and the year 2000, Delta was a ball fire. It was a ball fire. All sorts of fights and calls and crises were in this state. But as we travel around, we see a calmer environment. All the challenges have not gone. But definitely you can see that normalcy is returning. And that is the challenge we all face. The challenge of security. The challenge of law and order, without which development is impossible. And as we go around the South states, what I keep telling governments and people and all of us is that the basis now for development in this region is peace, security, law, and order. If you have that with what God has done under this democracy through some additional resources, coming from the derivation 13%, what we are doing through NDDC, what is being done through the Ministry of Niger Delta, combined with what the state governments are doing, I believe this region now has resources at a level they never had in the past to take off. But all that to be frustrated. If a contractor were to come here to start something, an investor was to come to do something, and some ugly incident happens, all they hear around the world is that ugly incident, not the other good jobs that are going on. So investing in security to have the calm is in the interest of the youth of this region. Their future now lies in peace and security. And we have seen governments doing a lot in this area. So we're starting out now this morning to see the efforts we are making. And Your Excellency, I believe by the time we return to the Citizens Forum on Saturday, we will have a better picture of what you have done, what local governments are doing, what the federal government is doing in this region for the transformation of our country. Nigeria is a beautiful country. It's a great country. If only we can reduce our quarrels sometimes, and just agree that we're a common family, we will move faster than this. Your Excellency, thank you. God bless Delta State.
Honorable Minister, first let me officially, on behalf of the government of Delta State, welcome you to Delta. And apologize for not being around yesterday, but Deputy was there to receive you. Yesterday was a special day in our life as a family. We're 25 years in marriage yesterday, and it was important that we were together the whole day, because I was brought up to look at 3 issues in life: God, family, and work. And they come in that order: God first, family second, work third. So when there are issues affecting the family, pay very particular attention to it. I had to leave worry about 5 a.m. this morning to be able to be with you this. So I want to thank you for the visit and for all you have said about our state so far. And to confirm and reaffirm that we all collectively agreed on this program, which I believe that, on a personal note, that is very, very necessary at this time of the history of Nigeria. Like you said, a lot of issues take the front burner in the media, but issues that has to do with development, especially when they are positive, they are tucked away in one small corner in the media, which I think is not encouraging and might not help us to move forward. There's no doubt that there's room to do a lot more, but if we appreciate the little we are doing, then people will be encouraged to do a lot more. So I want to say that as a state government, we are very, very supportive of this program. And I want to thank you for your efforts so far, because I know I've been on the campaign tour before. To go to 14 states so far, it's not easy. And when you have to drive through certain areas, especially driving from Bayelsa to Delta yesterday, I know the experience you must have passed through. It can be very strenuous. So I want to appreciate what you are doing. And please also to say you should not be discouraged. And that the hallmark of leadership is that you hear the good, the bad, the ugly. Let the ugly not discourage you from your focus. And I'm happy that you are still focused. Please remain focused. We'll continue to support you. Let me also thank Mr. President, who has agreed to release you as one of the members of the federal team for this project. Because although it's not a federal government project, but if Mr. President had said no, you will not be part of it, there's no way he will have a part of it. And it also shows how open he wants to be as a president. It also shows that he has nothing to hide. Because as you are going around, we're also looking for federal government projects. In fact, your men were insisting on, we're like competing. Oh, we want to show you more projects. We want to show you many of our projects as much as possible, because we believe that 3 days is not enough to go around Delta, a state that has 40% water, because we wanted to take you to some riverine projects. But I hear your men were insisting, oh, you also want to see some federal government projects. That shows that Mr. President is not hiding anything. He also wants to be assessed, and I mean, his work seen. So I want to thank him for also being that open. Now, having said that, you're in Delta State, a state, of course, we all know that it's one of the Niger Delta states. And I keep emphasizing, even to Nigerians, that Delta State is one of the 9 Niger Delta states. What I'm saying so is that sometimes when issues happen in other parts of the Niger Delta, it is summarized in the media as Delta. And people think that it's in Delta State. Yeah, because if you see this morning, there's a news item scrolling that some expatriates have been kidnapped in Southern Delta. But it wasn't, I mean, the options, it wasn't Delta State, it's another state in the Niger Delta. So many people looking at that scrolling now will think it happened in Delta. So please, media, NGG president is here. I would like to be specific that some of these things, if they are good things, we agree. But if there are issues that are not positive, please put it specifically the states it's supposed to be. Having said that, we like you rightly noted, this has also been, as part of Niger Delta, one of the battlefields in the days of the militancy. And a lot of effort has been put in by the federal government to stop the militancy, including the amnesty program, which I must commend, that is yielding the desired results. As a state government, we are also doing our best to deal with the issue of the Niger Delta crisis. And so in putting up our agenda, we just had 3, peace and security, which I've emphasized a big issue, the human capital development, and infrastructure development. I believe that these 3 things are interwoven. So like you said, if there's no peace and security, nobody will agree to come and develop your infrastructure. And without the infrastructure, even the human capital development cannot also go. So we need one to be able to deal with the other. And our ultimate goal in this 3-point agenda is the issue of job creation. Because the biggest challenge today, all over, including even the federal government, is that of creating jobs for our people, especially our youths. Because we believe that if we create jobs and a lot of our youths are employed, the pool that will be left from where criminals can be recruited will be very much reduced. So that's our focus. Our main focus is job creation. And to achieve this, we have tagged our strategy that of Delta Beyond Oil. What that simply means is, yes, oil is the biggest resource we have now. Oil is the mainstay of the economy. But we believe that we can develop other areas of the economy such that even when the oil is not there, or when there's an issue with the price of oil, the economy can be sustained as a state and even as a federal government. So that is our strategy of Delta Beyond Oil. And as a summary, we have tried to tackle this through our 3-point agenda. Our peace and security effort, do what we are doing, coupled with what the federal government is doing. The militancy is very, very minimal now. But that has also created some new security challenges. Challenges of kidnapping, challenges of sea piracy, challenges of illegal bunkering, which we have also been tackling with the federal security agencies that are here. We are supporting the police, we are supporting the army, we are supporting the SSS to deal with these challenges. And I can say that in the last few weeks, things are looking very good in terms of that area. The only other challenge that has just resurfaced it keeps coming on and off in the last few weeks, is that of Caturera versus community, which I hear you saw one yesterday, but we're also dealing with it. That is a very sensitive matter because it can lead to inter-ethnic and inter-religious, so we are managing it very critically. But apart from that, the state is relatively peaceful, relatively safe, and people are moving around peacefully. Now, in dealing with our human capital development, there are things you might not see on the field for which we spend money and people do not appreciate. These are in the areas of health and in the areas of education. For our health program, we are doing a free maternal health care service for every pregnant woman and every child that is under 5 years. This we are doing because we believe that if a child is born healthy, the likelihood of that child becoming a deviant when that child grows up is reduced. But if a child is born with difficulty, the tendency for that child to be a criminal is much more than when that child. So we are making it possible for every pregnant woman to have access to health care, to have every child under 5 years to have access to health care. Even after that, the other challenge is that of education. We're also making it possible for every child to have access to free education at the primary and secondary level, including paying their WAEC and NECO fees. And thereafter, at the university level, we have a comprehensive bursary and other scholarships, including aviation scholarship. And we have also started our own automatic scholarship for every child that has a first class university. You have an automatic university scholarship, 5 million naira a year. And so far, we have about 150-something students that are benefiting from this area. And of course, thereafter, we are talking of empowerment, and we have a microcredit scheme, some of the products you will see. I'm emphasizing this area because these are areas, what we call intangible areas, that people do not appreciate that we spend money on, but we spend money on them. Of course, talking about infrastructure, you are going to see a lot of the infrastructure, starting from the government house, like you said. This is a new government house. We'll be using a temporary one. In fact, we don't just moved in this January. It's still work in progress. I just decided that whatever leadership touches have to be done, will be done while I'm still inside this government house. So our store actually will start from here, from the government house here, and you'll be seeing the others as we move on. So once more, I want to thank you for the visit. I know you have a lot of booklets that will be going around, walks, some speeches, but the one that is very close to my heart is me and my wife are 25. Which I think I still have a few copies that I'll present to you. Yes, I lay a lot of emphasis on family because I believe that once there's a stable family, we have stable families in Nigeria, they will have a lot of peace, stable society. So once more, I welcome you. As much as possible, I'll be going around with you. I said as much as possible because I also have some senators in town that I might just sneak out and attend to as we go around. So thank you very much. I welcome.